Welcome to another edition of Patriots No Huddle. Steve Balstieri, Derek Havens as your host today. Mike Diabate, unfortunately, unable to join us. So for a second show in a row, Steve, we are just a two-man band. But before we do anything, how you doing today, man?
I'm hanging in there. My internet has been spotty at best today, so I apologize for that.
Yeah, I know, and I apologize for being detained with some family stuff over the weekend, so I couldn't do the post game show. And Mike has some personal stuff going on today too, so we just haven't been able to make it work. But we should be able to get together this weekend and do the post game show like normal. So hopefully we're back together as the trio that we normally are. Today's episode, we're going to be recapping a couple of thoughts on the Patriots win 24-23 squeaker over the Atlanta Falcons. And then we're going to recap a pretty interesting trade deadline where a division rival had a little bit of a fire sale. And then we're going to preview the upcoming big anticipated game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's going to be fun. First off, Steve, I'm going to lead us off with leftover thoughts. I know you and Mike did the post-game show, which is available on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Please do leave us a review or share us on there. It keeps us high in those rankings so the Patriots fans can find us. You can also follow us and subscribe to us on our Pats Fans YouTube channel. So please do that for us. So anyways, as far as the game goes, Steve, really kind of interesting game. I thought this game, my initial thought, Steve, watching this game was this is exactly how I envisioned Travion Henderson and the Josh McDaniels offense when they selected him. This is why several months before the draft, we talked about the possibilities that Josh McDaniels could use him. And I thought he was running hard. I thought Terrell Jennings with Ramondre Stevenson sidelined really stepped up and took a good hold of his carries. I also want to give a shout out to Pop Douglas, who I thought had his best career game as a pro. That little wrinkle, Steve, where they split Travion to the slot and put Pop in the backfield and then ran him on a wheel route for that touchdown was just a thing of beauty by Josh McDaniels. I mean, you can't draw it up better than that. I thought Drake May was slinging the ball pretty well. We're going to circle back to him shortly and the offensive line. Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper just continue to be their kind of dependable selves. So there's no surprise there. That was a nice play by Stephon Diggs to make a play there with a nice cutback. He really brings a lot of fire and passion to the offense. A little bit of, maybe he's not the player in his prime, but he looks reinvigorated, really locked in right now. And now without having a touchdown for 7 weeks, he's had one in the back-to-back games now, which is great. I mean, that was a great play by him. Drake May, I thought played really well, Steve, until I thought the strip sack. I thought the strip sack towards the end of the second quarter, and that's kind of where the momentum really shifted. I mean, the Patriots looked like they were on their way to just kind of a ho-hum easy win. The strip sack happened, and then all of a sudden it was a tight one. And then I thought Drake May really, I want to say, I don't want to be too harsh on him because let's be honest, the only reason the Patriots are 7-2 right now is largely because of how well Drake May has played, throughout the year. But I thought this was one of his worst games of the season for sure. Probably his worst game since week one. I just thought he looked rattled. I thought there was a lot of times where he was looking for his first read, and instead of kind of hanging in the pocket and stepping up, which he's done so well the past few weeks, he looked like he was looking to run a little bit more and just didn't look as comfortable. I thought the offensive line continues to have some issues, Steve, with stunts and by opposing defensive linemen. I forget how many yards Drake May ended with in the first half. I want to say it was over 170, and the Falcons had only averaged about 149 passing yards allowed to opposing offenses leading into the game, number one in the NFL. So the Patriots were moving the ball, and then I think that everything, really really flipped with that strip sack. And then defensively, the second half, I mean, really just the whole team in the second half. I just thought they were kind of lucky, Steve, to win this game. As our good friend Russ would get mad at me for, I'm marginalizing the win a little bit because, you got lucky with the field goal. You got lucky with a couple of other plays, or the missed extra point, I should say. You got lucky with a couple other plays that the intentional grounding really saved you there. Quig, our good friend Quig, chimes in. Steve was spot on with his report card on when you struggled. I thought everybody struggled, on the offensive line pretty much. I just thought they're having issues with pass protection right now. And look, it's been better. It has been better, Steve, and I don't want to just go on a Stephen A. Rant here where I'm talking way too long. I just wanted to give my thoughts, but I just think that teams are figuring out this offensive line a little bit more, and they're seeing things on tape. They're seeing things on Drake, and the Patriots are gonna have to make adjustments and get better. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the offensive line wasn't good on Sunday. I mean, pass protection wasn't there, but a part of it is Drake himself too. And let's call it what it is. I mean, he's still a young guy, right?
Yep.
And he's holding on to the ball
Way
sometimes too long, and he can sense the pressure coming around him. It's time to just throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
I think he takes too many sacks. Where
He had that one little run for like a yard where he went to slide and still got hit. And I'm like, dude, you would have been better off just throwing the ball away and preserving yourself a little
exactly,
bit
and
more.
some of the sacks are like because he waits till the last minute and then tries to run out of the pocket and gets tackled. I mean, you have to learn how to, live another day and throw the ball away. I
Well,
mean,
wouldn't you say that's kind of a double-edged sword though with Drake? Because part of what has made him great is the fact that he has been able to hang in the pocket and he's done a better job of stepping up into the pocket and kind of rolling out to his side and extending plays and doing that. But I do think there's a fine line, Steve, between what you just said and what I'm saying, which is, you have to learn to live another day, but you can't just tuck and run and go, and you have to be able to just make smarter decisions with the ball and get rid of it quicker. He's just holding on to it a little bit too much right now, and I do think part of that is people getting more film on
yeah,
him. I'm not raising the panic flag or anything like that. I'm not worried, but I do think it's something that we've seen really the last couple of weeks.
yeah, and on Sunday he crossed that line. I mean, there
Mhm.
there was a couple of plays there, and where look, there was nobody open, and the pocket was collapsing all around him, and that's when you just throw it away. I mean, there was no way he was going to scramble out, right, and get anything. I mean, he was literally surrounded. So, those are the times where you just have to live to fight another day. And there's nothing wrong with throwing the ball away on occasion. And, you know, I, I think that sometimes we lose sight of that fact, um, when it comes to the offensive line, because, a lot of these sacks are coming for 5, sometimes 6 seconds. And
Right.
that's not fair to the offensive line either. Now, do they need to play better in pass protection? Absolutely. I think
But if he's
when you
getting
had
five
a
or six
really poor
seconds,
game,
you
yeah,
know,
when
if
you
you're
had a
getting
poor game, I didn't think Garrett Bradbury played well either.
Yeah. I don't think really any of them played well, honestly. I mean, I'm sure you could pick and choose, one or two guys, but I just think as a unit right now, they're not doing good enough. And I think it's a compounding issue with Drake holding on to the ball too long. So you got kind of both going on here. And Quig chimes in again, Drake needs to work on his progressions, and that's exactly kind of what I'm saying too. And I agree. I think he's really, it's like first read, okay, it's not there. I'm gonna either hold it and then get sacked, or I'm going to take off and run and then take an unnecessary hit. And right now you're just seeing that constant cycle. And again, it's not all bad. I get again, up until that strip sack, what was that, 21-7 at that point, Steve? And they're kind of driving there, and all of a sudden that strip sack happens, and he just didn't look the same from that point. So him and Josh need to go back to the drawing board this week. It's gonna, Doug Marone's gonna need to spend a lot of time with the offensive line this week trying to figure out what they need to do. But look, I would say this as well, and I don't want to spend too much time on the game because you guys already did the post-game show. It's already Wednesday. We're recording this November 5th. At right now, it's 10:22 a.m. Eastern. And look, is the offensive line better than it was last year? Absolutely. But does it still have a long way to go? Yes, I think both can be true. And so we need to see better play on the offense and kind of, all around a little bit more consistency. And again, they are compounding issues. I do think guys are getting open, but we're just not seeing it on a good enough basis right now.
I agree with that.
So let's jump into the trade deadline. That was pretty interesting, Steve. And let's start with the New York Jets. They pretty much had a fire sale. Quinn Williams goes to the Cowboys, which I thought was
Dallas there, but
what?
They fleeced Dallas. I'm sorry. I thought they got much
what the compensation
more.
Was?
Yeah, I thought. I thought so. I mean, look, they got a second round pick, and the better of Dallas's or the Packers 2027 first round pick, and a defensive tackle. So, yeah, I thought they fleeced the Cowboys on that one.
Least surprising Dallas move of all time. They get waxed by the Cardinals, and then Jerry wants to be in the news, and he wants to make a move.
Exactly. That's how.
So screw it.
Yep.
Yep. Screw it. We'll go ahead and do it. And Quinn Williams is a good player. I mean, I'm happy to see him go. Also happy to see Sauce Gardner go. And he talked about a haul that Indianapolis put up for him. Another good player out of the division. Now, I've heard some people say, Sauce Gardner hasn't been good since his rookie year. It's untrue. He had a very bad second year. He's been very good this year. And Indianapolis to give up a young receiver and 2 first-round picks speaks volumes about where Indianapolis, for one, where they want to go this year. They see that they have a path to making a serious run. And for 2, I think it speaks to their confidence in Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that, when I looked at this trade, I mean, they gave up a lot. They gave up a first rounder next year and a first rounder in 2027, as well as a wide receiver that they just drafted last year.
Hey,
yeah. And so I was like, they obviously feel like they're in the mix for the Super Bowl right now. And, Sunday was a cautionary tale, right? Because Daniel Jones has been playing, off the wall this year. He's been really, really good.
Right.
But then on Sunday, I mean, he threw 3 interceptions. He fumbled twice. I mean, it's like those are the kind of things that haunted him in New York, but obviously they feel like that was a one-time thing. But I don't know if I would trust Daniel Jones to say I'm pushing all my chips on the table this year. And obviously they feel like they can because of their running game and now with their defense. But I don't know. I mean, that's an awful lot. And I know Gardner is outstanding corner. We know that. I mean, he's always have been. He hasn't allowed. I think they said it in at the when he was traded. He hasn't allowed more than 2 catches to a single receiver this year.
Yep.
So he's playing really well.
Yeah, last year he really struggled. This year, this year has been definitely a different story. He's looking back to where he was, and look, the Colts secondary desperately needs the help. So
that was the weakness, the pass defense. So
right, and so they're trying to they're trying to make some moves. I thought we got Jacoby Myers ended up going to the Jaguars. So good for Myers. No state income tax, as you well know.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yep, playing with a better quarterback. So good for Jacoby Myers. Rashid Shaheed went from the Saints to the Seahawks. One of the best kind of dynamic speed threats at receiver. Yeah. I don't think he's a number 1 or 2, but I think as a 3 or a 4, he can be dynamic with the ball in his hands. I thought that could be a potential Patriots target. I didn't really think they needed to add a receiver personally. I thought they might look at running back. We're going to circle back to that here shortly. But I thought, that was a good move for the Seahawks, who are really, playing pretty good ball right now as well. The Baltimore Ravens acquired a defense or edge rusher, Jermonte Jones from the Titans on Monday. So that was another big move. Look, I think I want to get back to the Patriots though, because a lot of people were pissed that the Patriots did not make a move at the trade deadline. And we talked off the air about this, I didn't want to trade a day 1 or a day 2 pick, meaning a first, second, or third round pick. I'm not interested in it. Now, obviously, if a player is totally, if a player comes available that is just, under team control for a number of years, relatively young or in his prime, you could maybe talk me into a day 2 pick. I'm not trading a first round pick. This team is not at that point. The Patriots are a rebuilding team. Now, I can understand some fans' frustration that they didn't do anything. And I had a couple people say, "Oh, they could have added a running back. They should have added an edge rusher. They're thin at this spot." Let me just say this: the Patriots are thin at every spot, pretty much. The depth on this whole team is thin. They're trying to flip the roster. They did a good job doing it over this offseason. And you're seeing the difference between Mike Vrabel, Drake May's growth, and how they flipped the rosters. The reason they are kind of ahead of schedule to this point. You want to keep those top tier assets. Now, if you're telling me that they traded a 4th or a 5th round pick for a guy that can help you, maybe he has 2 years left on his deal, fine, go for it. You want to buy low on something. Reportedly, the Patriots were interested in potentially Titans running back Tony Pollard, and they were one of 3 teams interested in Jeffrey Simmons, which I thought was very interesting. Now, the rumor on the street is that the Titans owner, what is it? I always forget. Amy Shrunk?
Amy Adams Strunk.
Yeah. So the rumor is that she did not want to trade with the Patriots because of the Mike Vrabel situation and how that whole thing ended, which would be kind of petty, but not surprising. That's just the NFL world. So that wouldn't be
not at all.
That would be, not surprising. I think that just first of all, Steve, it was reported that the Patriots were one of 3 teams interested in Simmons. Even if they pulled that off, wouldn't that be kind of crazy to have Simmons and Milton Williams and Christian Barmore all on that defensive line? That's a lot of money to the defensive line.
Oh, that's true. But you look at how the Eagles played last year with that.
Yep.
and it definitely works because you're constantly having fresh legs on the field. I didn't think the Titans would let go of Simmons. I didn't expect that at all. So,
I mean, picture a jumbo package of Tonga, Simmons,
yeah. Oh man,
Williams, and
then you're
Barmore.
talking about a rotation, from hell, right? I mean, pick your poison.
By the way, I
But
need to give Covers Tonga a shout out for that running play.
yeah,
Um,
that was a pretty good play as a fullback. So, and that came about. It was kind of interesting because Mike Vrabel, I guess,
locker
when
room
they
speech.
named captains for the week, he shows like some clips of their highlights, and he showed a highlight of Tonga's from high school where he was a fullback. And Josh McDaniel saw that, and they put in a little package for him to come in, and he cleared out some room.
I hope they
think
do it
on that.
again. I hope they do it again.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking short yardage. I mean, I'm all sign me up, coach.
And actually, and this is no disrespect to Jack Westover, who actually has surpassed my expectations.
He's played
Honestly,
well.
he's played pretty well.
Yes.
I mean, I have no issue. I have no issue with how Jack Westover's played, but you can't replace. I mean, that kind of size and athleticism that Tonga brings to the table. So I wanted to kind of just mention him because I forgot to earlier, and I did make a note of it. So again, any fans that are up in arms, look, I think that the best thing is that we've seen Drake May take a jump overall this year. We're seeing Vrabel have this team on the right track. You can see the energy around the team. They're 7-2. We said going into the Falcons game, our hope was that we wanted to at least split the Falcons and the Bucs. Well, they got one, so we'll see if they can steal them both.
Well,
That'd be great.
and to me, I mean, going back to the trade deadline, and I mentioned this last week when we spoke. I didn't have an issue with them trading Keon White or Kyle Duggar, especially in regards to Keon White, which I said he wasn't a great fit for what they're trying to do now. They wanted him more on the edge, but he's a proven edge guy, and I didn't have an issue with that if they were going to get another edge guy because their depth is so thin. And I made mention of this in the report card. You can see at the end of games where Landry and Kalen Monchason are getting tired at the end of games because they really don't have anybody that can come in and generate pass rush.
Yeah,
And
edge rusher is definitely towards the top of my list as far as draft goes, by the way.
And again, you look at Draymond Jones, right, who the Ravens picked up, a 5th-round pick. Jones isn't a starter. He's a rotational guy. But in the last 4 games, he has 4.5 sacks for the Titans. Right. Are you telling me that they couldn't part with a 5th-round pick? Now, as you said, Adam Strunk, the owner of the Titans, said she didn't want to trade with the Patriots. That could have been a reason why, because I was thinking in terms of a guy like Jones or Arden Keefe from the Titans. But, I mean, that's the kind of deal I was hoping that they were going to do. I didn't expect them.
And like I said, if they trade a day 3 pick, a 4th or a 5th for a guy like that, I'm all for it. Like, that's fine with me. I just didn't want to trade a top-end asset. That was all my –
I totally agree. And they had made that quite clear that they weren't going to do that. So
they pretty much said it before the trade deadline. Like
that's why I'm surprised to hear the story that they were all in on Jeffrey Simmons.
Right. I think it was one of those pie in the sky situations. Like, hey,
yeah, but
they probably didn't want to set expectations.
It is what it is, and now they're gonna. I mean, they chose not to add, and they were sellers at the trade deadline, which we did not expect. Because they traded 2 starters from last year's team, and didn't really add anyone. They added a guy who was off the street. I mean, he wasn't even a practice squad guy from somebody else. He was a guy off the street, and Brendan Rice. So
Right.
I mean, that to me is your sellers at the trade deadline, and did not expect that. And um, to me, they didn't help themselves at all there, because they
Yeah.
really didn't get anything for those two guys that they traded,
Right. Yeah, I get that
other
100%.
than salary dump, which
Right.
did not hurt for salary anyway. That's why it's like
I
when they're
think they were
looking
just
at the
trying to.
Keon White trade.
Oh, sorry about that. So all I was going to say was I think with the Duggar trade, they just didn't see a spot for him moving forward, so they just said we'll just get out of this contract, and it is what it is. I'm still scratching my head about the Peppers thing. I don't understand that one at all. Going all the way back a couple months ago, uh, the Keon White thing, I thought he was going to thrive up front
Mhm.
next to Barmore and Milton. Um, but it just didn't work out. For all I know, he asked to be released. I have no idea. Um, to your point about Caleb on Chason and Harold Landry, though, I think Chason has played better than I've expected him to play. He came out like a cannon to start the first quarter in that game versus the Falcons, and he's already set his career high in sacks, and we're only through 9 weeks to this point.
Mhm.
Uh, and Harold Landry, I think, is dealing with something physically. I don't know anything. It's a total guess, but I think he's a little banged up. All the
Oh,
more
we saw that
reason,
a couple of weeks ago. Remember? I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
All the
and
more,
I'm sure he's dealing with that. And I mean, I think these guys play. They're playing very well. I have no issue with the way that they're playing. Just that at the end of games, like you saw that, you watched that Atlanta game, they weren't getting any pass rush, in the second half on Penix, and Atlanta had some backup offensive linemen in the game, and those are the type of situations you would think they would dominate, and it didn't happen. And I think it's just because they're getting worn down. And what's going to happen, week 17? I mean,
yeah. I mean, I still, I mean, all the more reason. Everyone's point with Landry battling through injury and Chason and him getting worn down. All the more reason to. It's hard to defend them not adding a move like you're talking about for a day 3 pick to add somebody. And I wonder if they're looking and kicking the tires on a few people, coming up here. So we could definitely see something like that. So, any other trade deadline thoughts, or do you want to dive into the Bucks?
now let's go to the Bucks.
Sounds good. Give me your opening thoughts on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game coming up here.
Well, this is going to be a tough one.
Oh, yeah.
I think this will be a matchup that will be challenging for them. I think that um, Tampa's defense, it will definitely. I know that they're hurting in their secondary, but their run defense is as stout as the Patriots is. And when I look at we talked about Tonga earlier, and Vita Vea, I think, is an absolute game wrecker in this matchup.
Especially with how bad you got a rookie left guard in Jared Wilson. Garrett Bradbury hasn't played well at center. And when you really struggled this last week, especially, and now you have one of the best interior players in all the league coming at you with a ton of
And
power.
Tampa has, and prior to their um, bye week, their last 3 games, they've had 15 sacks. So,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
this is going to be a really tough matchup for them.
Right.
Now, granted, I mean, when I look at the Bucks, you know, they're hurting offensively. They're missing a lot of key players, and that has affected uh, Baker Mayfield, who continues to make stuff happen. But
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a battle right now of, I would say, two of the top 4 MVP candidates in the entire league.
Mhm.
I mean, I'd put in Daniel Jones and maybe Mahomes. I mean,
So, when I'm looking at this game this week, I think, especially they're missing some of their top wide receivers, and it's not looking exactly right now as if they're going to get any of those back. That might change. But I think this is going to be a week where you're going to have to start dialing up blitzes from all over the place. Because if you let Baker Mayfield sit back there and cook, I don't care who he has on the field, you're going to struggle defensively, and he's going to find ways to beat you. They've shown that all season long. So, if you're the Patriots, you're going to have to start dialing stuff up this week because you can't afford to that. Now, with Bucky Irving, it looks like he's probably still going to be out. The Patriots' run defense has been great all season. I
Yeah,
don't
they've
think
been really good.
yeah. So it's going to come down to who can make plays in the passing game. And so that's why I'm thinking they have to get aggressive this week. We know the Patriots, they've been really good at throwing the football. I don't think they're going to be able to run against Tampa's defense. So now you have a matchup of one-dimensional teams, and who can win that matchup. And with the Patriots' pass protection issues, I would think if they could solidify that, they would win this football game. But now I'm on the fence completely about this one.
Yeah, I am too. Do we know, is Mike Evans playing in this game or not?
No.
Okay, so he's out for sure.
Yeah.
Because that's and
Chris Godwin, and he's still out. I believe.
we're trying to look up if Mecca Ibuka was in or not. I know this is bad.
Yeah, I believe he's in, but
I'm looking it up as we speak here.
yeah, because they had a practice on Monday since they had their bye week. So, and then yesterday, they have the traditional Tuesday off, and then they come back to work today.
Right. Yeah,
So,
it looks like he's gonna go, and he's got a ton. He's been getting a ton of targets too the last
yeah,
couple.
he's been really really good.
I mean, it hasn't really. I mean, the lot. I mean, they haven't really. It has. He's had 21 before the bye week. He's had 21 targets, in the previous two games. Only 7 catches though. So, so it's not a great, it's not a great ratio, but they are clearly targeting him. So I could definitely see.
And it's because they've had so many other guys out hurt. The
Right.
teams are doubling him up, and
Right.
they're daring Baker to beat them somewhere else, and that's. I
Yeah, I
mean,
could
with
see
Evans
Marcus
out,
Jones on Tez, Johnson, just given the speed element there, size, because you saw with Drake London, and this is no shot at Marcus. You know how much I love Marcus Jones, but with Drake London, I mean, he was phenomenal in in that last game.
6'4" on 5'8" is not.
No, yeah. As the kids would say, he sunned him a few times. So it
Yeah.
was. That was rough. So, hopefully Christian Gonzalez should be good to go. But, if you can take Buka out of the game, put Marcus Jones on Taz, and then you're kind of rotating on whoever else. I just think that'll be a good sign. So we'll have to go from there. For me, it is a little worrisome, Steve, going into this game. One of my biggest concerns is just the fact that the Buccaneers have had 2 weeks now to prepare for you. And with all the issues that the Patriots have had up front, and with Drake May coming in, and just some of these things, I just don't love that aspect of it. Now they're rested, they're at home, and you're coming in, I wouldn't say limping, but I would say vulnerable. So I think they're going to have to make a statement. The Patriots are going to have to make a statement early in this game and really try to take the wind out of the sails. Forgive the bad pun there. In Tampa. So they're going
they have to beach that pirate ship.
Yeah, they're going to have to. But yeah, it is going to be an interesting battle. And like you mentioned earlier, I mean, Baker just continues to just will his team to win. I mean, his resurgence, I mean, hats off to him. I mean, it's really a great story to see. And you could see the team rallies around him, the guys rally around him, and they've kind of taken on his personalities, kind of like a, aggressive, fiery team. And, I think the biggest concern aside from them having 2 weeks to prepare and getting healthy or healthier, um, is I think the defensive, the front for Tampa Bay getting 15 of those 15 sacks, the previous 3 games, and the struggles the Patriots have had up front. Because if you don't think that they're seeing what we're seeing, I mean, they're doing it. They've been putting in the work. They're definitely seeing it. So that is those are two of my biggest issues here.
Yeah, and again, I mean, special teams might play into this, and their special teams have been up and down.
Yeah,
And
Chase McLaughlin's been pretty good at kicker, but yeah, definitely something to be concerned about for sure. Do we want anything else from the Buccaneers game that you want to discuss, or should we get into predictions for the week?
Yeah, let's jump into predictions, right?
All right, let's do it. So let's pick 3 games. Why don't we get into? Let's get into Falcons. Let's get into Falcons Colts. Falcons and Colts. I forget where this game is. It is in because it's 7:30. It's I forget where it is. Man, a lot of bad podcasting today. But anyway, Falcons and Colts, 7:30 a.m., 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Who do you have in this one, and why, Steve?
I like the Colts in this one. I think after they turned the ball over 6 times against the Steelers, they're looking for a bounce back type game. The Falcons' run defense isn't great. I think Jonathan Taylor has a big game. I think Daniel Jones bounces back. They have the wide receivers to stress that defense, and I think they get after Michael Penix more than the Patriots did. So I have the Colts winning this one.
It's in Berlin, by the way. Sorry, I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I knew it was in Germany. I couldn't remember which city.
So I agree with that. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is far and away your offensive player of the year to this point. He's been tremendous. As you mentioned, the Falcons' run defense is leaky. Drake London was terrific last week, but guess who just rolled into town? Sauce Gardner. And he's going to be following him around in this game. I think that favors. And like you said, I mean, I guess I'm still a Daniel Jones doubter. I want to see it more, but there's no doubt that he's played really well. And I think confidence has a lot to do with it. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he goes ahead and bounces back from that terrible performance, last week. So we'll go from there. We'll save the Patriots and Buccaneers game. Let's get into Ravens and Vikings in the morning slot as well. Should be a good one, Steve. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, the Vikings, they beat the Lions last week. I just think the Ravens are kind of getting healthy now. I like Baltimore's running game to take this one. I think it should be an interesting game, but I look for the Ravens, because Lamar Jackson didn't really run much last week, but they didn't really have to. He didn't really have to. I mean, they kind of rolled over the Dolphins, and I expect more of that to continue. I think they'll beat the Vikings this week.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I have a feeling that Harbaugh is going to have something up his sleeve for McCarthy there in Minnesota, and I do think that Baltimore's defense is going to have his way there, and the running game as well. So, unfortunately, we agree, because I would love to disagree with you, but there's a few good games. We're going to do a bonus. I can't pick between these two. I want to do Eagles and Packers, but the Rams and 49ers, it's kind of hard to pass up on. Division game. The Rams have been really tough. The 49ers are playing well. But I want to give Mac Jones a shout out. Just really, really playing good football, for them right now. I think that Christian McCaffrey has just been just so terrific and so consistent for so long. It's just like you put the ball in his hands in any capacity and good things happen. I think the Rams are a really good team, but if the 49ers keep rolling the way they are, granted, they're only 6-3, but the Rams are 6-2. It's in 49ers. It's in the Levi Stadium in San Francisco. I'm going to go 49ers, but I think it's going to be a squeaker. I think it's going to be a 3 or 4 point game.
Yeah, I was kind of on the same track you were. I mean, because the 49ers are at home, but I'm kind of leaning toward the Rams in this one. The more I
Any
think
specific
about it,
reason why?
I just think that the 49ers, they're still pretty beat up, and so I'm kind of looking for the Rams to take advantage of that a little bit, and I think I'm going to take the Rams in a squeaker. I think it go either way.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a close one. So we're a little separate on that one, but
But yeah,
we both agree it's going to be.
Mac Jones has been playing real well.
I want to say he started out 14-14 in the game last week, if I'm not mistaken. Like he was really really impressive, and it's not. Look, it's not surprising to me that Mac Jones is succeeding in that system. He was tailor-made for Shanahan's system, and Shanahan makes it really easy for quarterbacks. Look what he's done with Brock Purdy. And it's not really a shot at Purdy. I think Purdy's has proven to be a good player, but I just think if you took Brock Purdy and dropped him in anywhere, I don't think it's necessarily going to work. I just think those are the kind of quarterbacks that Shanahan will excel with. Now, would he excel with a quarterback, as good as like Drake May? Of course he would. But I just think his system is very quarterback friendly, and Mac Jones is taking advantage of his opportunity. So the last game is, so we are doing a bonus game because I can't pass this one up. Monday Night Football should be excellent. Eagles at Packers. What did you go first here? Eagles 6-2 rolling against the 5-2-1 Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to go Philadelphia in this one. I know the Packers are at home, and they usually play really well at home. I just have the feeling the Eagles are going to be, bringing their A game to Green Bay this week. And I think they're going to pull this one out. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I think it's going to come down pretty much to the wire. I think it'll be close. But I like Philly in this one.
See, I'm a little torn on this one because on the surface, I want to say the Eagles win this game because they're the more physical team, and I think they could really bully. I think they could play some bully ball like they normally do against a lot of teams. At the same time, the Packers are at home, and they're coming off a real tough loss against Carolina last week, so there is that bounce back factor. Now that could bounce one way or the other, I suppose. I mean, you lose to you lose to a team that you feel like you should have beaten, and you kind of are down in the dumps, and then you have the Super Bowl champions come in and hit you in the mouth, and you start to spiral. Or maybe the Packers come out and make a statement, in front of the bright lights, and all of a sudden put them on notice early. I'm going to take the Eagles in this one, but I also agree with you. I think it's going to be a one possession game that I think goes down, down to the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, now's the big time. Steve, Patriots at Bucks. Who do you got and why?
I don't feel good about this one. I'll be honest with you. I don't think the Patriots' offensive line can hold up against that particular team. Granted, their secondary is pretty beat up right now, and I think this will come down to how much time each quarterback has to throw. Yep. And I think if they give Drake May time, the Patriots will win this game. I don't think he's going to have enough time. I like the Bucks in this one, 24-20. Excuse me.
I don't feel good about this one either, Steve. I'm tempted to take the Patriots because I'm happy that Mike Evans is out. But I just it's hard to have a lot of confidence. As good as the Patriots have played to this point in the season, it's hard to have a lot of confidence in them right now when they have had so many issues up front, and now you're playing a very strong defensive front, as you said as well. They're gonna have to. Drake May is gonna have to have one of his best games of of his young career, and the offensive line is going to have one of their best games of the season in order to get this done. I have a very similar score. I think it's going to be 27-24 Tampa, unfortunately. So we both have the Patriots losing this week, which, look, I don't think is a bad thing. I think with the Bucs coming off the bye only makes it harder. Your Patriots are going on the road after a squeaky win. Bucs have an extra week to prepare, get healthy, and if you can have, if you can protect Drake May, and they can clean up his kind of footwork and progressions and everything like that, and you're able to stop the run, which they've been good at, maybe force a turnover, maybe there's a special teams play. I think you can pull this game off. I'm not saying it's an impossible thing. I just don't like the offensive line, specifically the offensive line versus the front seven of Tampa Bay. That to me is I think the X factor in this game. If we come away and say, wow, the offensive line blocked their what's off, and the Bucs only had, say, 3 sacks, and the Patriots were to put up in the mid-20s, which they pretty much have been averaging in the mid-20s all season, then I'll say, the Patriots probably have a good chance to win that game. If you're telling me that Vita Vea is just going to be a wrecking ball right up the middle and Drake May's running for his life, well, then I don't feel as good about it. So it's going to be a tough fought battle. I'm hoping it's a close one. I do think it would be a close one. I'd be surprised if either team blew the other one out. I think this is going to be a one possession game.
Yeah, and Quick makes a good point. He had the Patriots 2017, but he said look for a special teams play. And again, we mentioned that earlier. Look, their special teams has been kind of up and down. And if the Patriots if they get a big return from Marcus Jones, that could turn the tide in this one. I don't know. I think they've won 6 in a row. They should be going in pretty confident, but at the same time, I think that this isn't a good matchup for them. So
no, it's not a good matchup for them. I think the best thing that can happen for the Patriots in this game is if the Buccaneers have the ball to either do for the Patriots to force a 3 and out or force a turnover, or maybe that big special teams play, even if it's not a touchdown, even if it's just like a Marcus Jones 30 yards, and all of a sudden you enter you're 1 first down away from scoring territory and field goal territory. Or if the Patriots get the ball first and you go right down the field and you put points on the board, just again to use the bad analogy, the bad pun, take the wind out of the sails in Tampa. I think that would be really important. This could be an early statement game, Steve. The last thing you want to do is get behind the sticks against this Tampa team, and that only feeds into the matchup that we're worried about, which all of a sudden Tampa's able to pin their ears back and go, and now your young quarterback's in trouble.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the thing I worry about in this one. So
yep. Well, we'll be back. Should be back Sunday night to do the post game show. So keep an eye out for that. Probably be posted either late Sunday night or early Monday morning. So we'll be here. We'll post it live. I don't know what time yet. I'll have to talk to the guys about it. But I'll post it on Twitter. I would say probably sometime. I don't know, Steve. What do you think? Probably sometime around 8 Eastern or something like that.
Yep.
I guess we'll see. But I want to give a shout out to our good friend Mike Diabate, who again couldn't join us today. Shout out to PatsFans.com for hosting us here on Patriots No Huddle. Please do like, share, leave us a review on Apple Podcast and Spotify. If you like, share, leave us a review. It keeps us high in those podcast ranking so other Patriots fans can find us. Also, be sure to subscribe to us on our Pats Fans YouTube channel. We'll see you next time here on Patriots No Huddle.